Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone. Fear. It's something we all experience. It whispers in our ears, telling us we're not ready, not good enough, not strong enough. It convinces us to wait until we feel more prepared, more confident, more certain. But the truth is, confidence doesn't come before action. It comes because of action. Fear is a universal emotion, and it's something that everyone encounters at some point in their lives. Whether you're about to give a presentation, start a new job, or make an important decision, fear often shows up uninvited. It's completely natural to feel afraid when stepping into the unknown, but it's important to understand that fear, while uncomfortable, doesn't have to control your actions. In fact, fear can be an indicator that you're on the verge of growth, change, or pursuing something meaningful. Acknowledging fear is the first crucial step. Many people try to suppress or ignore their fear, thinking that it's a sign of weakness or that it somehow disqualifies them from taking action. But in reality, fear is not a weakness. It's simply a signal from our mind and body that we're about to do something that stretches us. It's a biological response designed to protect us from danger, but it's not always accurate. Fear can make us hesitate, second-guess ourselves, or even stop in our tracks. However, it's essential to recognize that this emotional response is not a reflection of our ability to succeed or achieve what we desire. What matters is how we respond to fear. The key is not allowing fear to dictate our behavior. When we let fear control us, it paralyzes us from moving forward and prevents us from taking risks, which are often necessary for growth. When we choose to acknowledge fear and move forward anyway, we begin to take control. By facing the fear head-on, we are essentially telling ourselves that our goals, dreams, and aspirations are more important than the discomfort we feel in the moment. This is where true personal strength comes from, not in avoiding fear, but in working through it. It's also important to understand that fear doesn't disappear just because we acknowledge it. It's likely to show up again and again throughout our lives, especially when we take on new challenges. But by facing it repeatedly, we learn to build resilience. With each fear we confront, we become more adept at managing it and taking action despite it. Over time, this creates a positive cycle. Taking action builds confidence, and confidence makes us more willing to face our fears in the future. The goal isn't to eliminate fear, but to make it a companion rather than an obstacle. Fear can actually be helpful when we learn to navigate it. For example, it can increase our focus and alertness, making us more prepared for what's ahead. It can also motivate us to plan more thoroughly, be cautious in certain situations, or take measures to ensure that we're making well-informed decisions. But these benefits only manifest when we don't let fear overwhelm us. Ultimately, fear is not something that should hold us back from pursuing what we truly want. It's part of the human experience, and it's something we all face. The critical difference lies in how we choose to respond. When we acknowledge fear without letting it control us, we empower ourselves to take action and move closer to our goals. It's by continuing to take action, despite our fear, that we build the resilience, confidence, and courage necessary to achieve great things. Many people believe that in order to take action, they need to feel fully confident or ready. They think they need to wait until everything aligns perfectly, when they know all the details, have all the skills, and are free of any doubt. However, confidence doesn't magically appear in a vacuum before taking action. In fact, it's through taking action, even when we're scared or unsure, that we build the confidence we seek. Confidence is not a prerequisite for action. It's a byproduct of action. When you take that first step, no matter how small, you often realize that the fear and hesitation you initially felt weren't as overwhelming as you imagined. The moment you make a decision to move forward, even if it's with some anxiety, you start to see progress, and progress builds confidence. The very act of showing up, despite your doubts, is empowering. It shows you that you are capable, and that ability to push through fear becomes a powerful reminder that you can handle more than you give yourself credit for. Confidence is developed through repetition, not by waiting for a magical feeling of certainty. For instance, when a person starts a new workout routine, they may not feel confident in the beginning, the movements might feel awkward, and their strength might not be where they want it to be. But as they continue to show up and put in the work, they see improvements. However small, with each session, they become more comfortable with the exercises, and slowly but surely their confidence grows. This same principle applies to almost every aspect of life. The more we practice something, the more familiar it becomes, and the more confident we grow in our abilities. Moreover, waiting for confidence before taking action can often lead to inaction. Fear and uncertainty are inevitable parts of life, and if we wait for them to disappear before we act, we may end up waiting forever. The reality is that there will always be some level of fear or doubt when we're stepping into something new. The key is not to wait for fear to vanish, but to take action despite it. It's through that action that we gain clarity and learn the lessons we need. Each step forward, no matter how imperfect, is a step toward growth. Another way to build confidence through action is by celebrating small wins along the way. Every milestone, no matter how minor it may seem, is an opportunity to acknowledge progress. This can be as simple as checking off a to-do list or completing a task you were initially intimidated by. These small successes, when recognized, reinforce the idea that you are capable, and they serve as fuel to keep going. When you consistently take action, even when it's uncomfortable, it becomes easier to trust yourself. The process becomes less about waiting for the perfect moment and more about trusting that you'll be able to handle whatever comes your way. This shift in mindset, understanding that confidence is earned through action, not granted in advance, empowers you to take that first step, even when it's terrifying. It's the willingness to move forward in spite of uncertainty that sets the stage for growth, resilience, and eventually the confidence that seemed so elusive at first. Taking action builds confidence, and the more you act, the more capable and confident you become. In the end, the best way to feel confident is to take action, even if you're scared, because that's where the growth truly happens. Taking action doesn't always require a grand leap. Often, it's the small, consistent steps that create real progress. The idea of making huge, life-changing decisions can be intimidating, and that intimidation can paralyze us into inaction. But if you break down a daunting task into smaller, more manageable pieces, the task becomes less overwhelming and more achievable. By focusing on taking small steps, you allow yourself the opportunity to build momentum, which will eventually propel you toward your larger goals. When we face a big challenge or goal, it's easy to become overwhelmed by the scope of it all. You may look at the larger picture and think, how am I ever going to accomplish this? The key here is to shift your focus from the end goal to the present moment, and to ask yourself, what is the next step I can take right now? Breaking down the process into smaller tasks makes it easier to start and creates a sense of accomplishment as you check off each step along the way. These small victories, while they may seem insignificant at first, are building blocks that contribute to your overall success. They also boost your confidence, reinforcing the idea that you are capable of moving forward. Think about a project you're working on, whether it's personal or professional. Perhaps you have a goal to write a book, launch a business, or run a marathon. These are big undertakings, and the road to achieving them can feel long and daunting. However, by focusing on one chapter at a time, one product at a time, or 1 mile at a time, the process becomes more manageable. Each small step you take allows you to build the necessary skills, resources, and mindset for the next step. Progress, however small, keeps you moving forward, and before you know it, those small steps add up to big strides. This approach also helps prevent burnout. When you're focused on the entire journey, the weight of the goal can feel heavy, and it may cause you to stall or lose motivation. But when you focus on just one piece of the puzzle at a time, you reduce the mental and emotional strain. You start to enjoy the process, as you're not obsessing over the end result. Instead, you're simply concerned with completing the task at hand. Small steps allow you to stay present and engaged, making the journey more fulfilling. Additionally, taking small steps enables you to stay flexible and adapt as you go. The path to any big goal is rarely a straight line. It's filled with twists, turns, and unexpected challenges. By taking it one step at a time, you give yourself the space to adjust your approach as needed. You learn as you go, and every small action you take gives you valuable feedback that helps you refine your strategy. This incremental approach also helps you overcome the fear of failure. When you focus on a large goal, the fear of not succeeding can be paralyzing. But when you break it down into smaller tasks, the stakes seem lower, and the possibility of failure becomes less intimidating. You begin to see failure as part of the process. something that happens along the way rather than an end result. With each small step, you gain experience, knowledge, and resilience, which prepares you to handle bigger challenges down the road. Ultimately, taking small steps isn't about underestimating your goal or dreaming small. It's about making your big dreams more accessible and achievable. By focusing on the immediate next step, you build the momentum needed to tackle bigger challenges. These small actions become powerful catalysts for progress, and over time, they accumulate to bring you closer to your ultimate goal. So instead of waiting for the perfect moment or the perfect plan, take action now and take it one step at a time. You'll be amazed at how far those small steps can take you. When you're facing fear and uncertainty, it's crucial to connect with your deeper sense of purpose. Having a clear why, the reason behind your actions, gives you the motivation to keep moving forward even when you feel scared or unsure. Your purpose acts as a guiding light, helping you navigate the challenges and obstacles that come with pursuing something meaningful. When you're driven by something bigger than the fear you feel in the moment, it becomes easier to push through discomfort and take the necessary steps toward your goal. Purpose is powerful because it gives context to your actions. When you understand why you're doing something, the how and the what become less daunting. Imagine you're starting a new business or taking on a challenging project at work. At the beginning, the uncertainty of the journey, the fear of failure, and the stress of learning new skills may feel overwhelming. But when you remind yourself of the deeper purpose behind your work, the impact you want to have, the values you want to uphold, or the difference you want to make, it gives you the strength to keep going even when the path ahead seems unclear. Having a strong sense of purpose also helps you maintain focus. It's easy to get distracted by fear or by the noise of other people's opinions, especially when you're doing something new or outside your comfort zone. Fear can cloud your judgment, making it hard to stay motivated. But when you're rooted in your why, it acts as a filter for your decisions. It allows you to focus on what truly matters and tune out the distractions that might otherwise derail you. Your purpose becomes a filter through which you evaluate every decision, ensuring that your actions are aligned with your long-term goals and values. Purpose also gives you the resilience to keep going when things get tough. Every challenging journey will have setbacks, failures, and moments of self-doubt. It's in these moments that your why becomes your greatest source of strength. When you hit a roadblock, you can remind yourself of the bigger picture and use that motivation to keep moving forward. The fear of failure or the discomfort of growth may not disappear, but your commitment to your purpose makes it easier to face them head on. Another benefit of having a clear why is that it helps you embrace failure as part of the process. Failure becomes less of a personal setback and more of a learning opportunity when you see it through the lens of your purpose. You understand that each failure brings you closer to your goal because it teaches you valuable lessons along the way. When you're driven by purpose, you can look at challenges with a growth mindset, seeing them as necessary steps rather than insurmountable obstacles. Moreover, purpose gives you the confidence to take risks. Fear often holds us back because we're afraid of making the wrong choice or taking the wrong path, but when you're clear about your purpose, you're more willing to take calculated risks because you trust that the risk will ultimately bring you closer to achieving your bigger goal. The fear of failure is still present, but it's balanced by the excitement and motivation that comes from knowing you're doing something that truly matters to you. Purpose also fuels your perseverance. There will be moments when you feel exhausted, discouraged, or tempted to give up. But when you're anchored in your why, you find the strength to keep pushing forward. Whether it's finishing a difficult project, making a tough decision, or stepping into an unknown situation, your purpose becomes the reason you keep going. In the end, your purpose is the antidote to fear. It shifts the focus away from the fear itself and toward the vision of what you're working to achieve. When you're connected to something bigger than yourself, fear loses its power to stop you. Instead of letting fear dictate your choices, you let your purpose guide you, helping you take action even when you're scared. One of the biggest reasons people hesitate to take action, especially when fear is involved, is the fear of failure. The idea of not succeeding, of making mistakes, or of falling short of expectations can be paralyzing. However, the truth is that failure is not the end of the road. Rather, it's a crucial part of the journey towards success. Failure isn't something to fear or avoid, it's an opportunity to learn, grow, and refine your approach. Embracing failure as part of the process allows you to move forward with greater resilience and understanding, ultimately bringing you closer to your goals. Failure is a natural and inevitable part of life. No one achieves success without experiencing setbacks or mistakes along the way. Whether it's a failed business venture, a missed opportunity, or a personal challenge, everyone encounters failure at some point. The key is not to see failure as a reflection of your abilities or worth, but as a learning experience. Each failure offers valuable feedback that can help you adjust your approach and improve moving forward. Rather than letting failure hold you back, use it as a stepping stone to greater success. The fear of failure often stems from the belief that failure is permanent or that it defines us. In reality, failure is rarely permanent. Most failures are simply temporary setbacks that provide important lessons. When you fail, you are given the opportunity to reflect, adjust, and try again with new knowledge and experience. Failure doesn't define who you are, it's just one part of your journey. What matters is how you respond to failure. If you let it discourage you, you risk missing out on future opportunities. But if you embrace it as part of the learning process, you can turn it into a powerful tool for growth. Furthermore, failure is a crucial element of building resilience. Every time you face a setback and continue to push forward, you develop greater mental toughness and perseverance. You learn to navigate obstacles with more confidence and clarity. As you experience failure and bounce back from it, you begin to understand that failure doesn't have to be feared. It can be used as a catalyst for improvement. The more you face failure and keep moving forward, the less intimidating it becomes. You start to realize that each failure is just one step closer to success because it brings you valuable insights and teaches you what not to do next time. Another important aspect of failure is that it fosters creativity and innovation. When things don't go as planned, it forces you to think outside the box and find alternative solutions. Failure challenges you to adapt, problem solve, and think in new ways. Some of the most groundbreaking innovations and success stories were born out of failure. Thomas Edison's countless failed experiments led to the invention of the light bulb. Steve Jobs' setbacks in the early days of Apple taught him crucial lessons that ultimately shaped the company's future success. If they had given up after each failure, they would have never reached their full potential. Additionally, failure helps you build a growth mindset. People with a growth mindset see challenges and setbacks as opportunities for development rather than threats. They understand that abilities and intelligence are not fixed. They can be developed through hard work, learning, and perseverance. Embracing failure as a part of this process allows you to stay open to learning and improvement. Instead of thinking, I failed, therefore I am not good enough, you begin to think, I failed, but this is an opportunity to learn and grow. Taking action despite the fear of failure also helps you develop a sense of self-trust. The more you take risks and push past your fear of failure, the more you realize that you are capable of handling whatever comes your way. You begin to trust yourself and your ability to adapt and overcome challenges. Even when things don't go according to plan, you know that you have the resilience and resourcefulness to keep going. Ultimately, failure should not be something that holds you back from taking action. Instead, it should be viewed as an essential part of the journey, an opportunity to learn, grow, and develop resilience. Failure is not a sign that you're not capable, it's a sign that you're pushing your boundaries and testing your limits. By embracing failure, you gain the wisdom and strength needed to keep moving. The fear of failure may never completely disappear, but when you learn to see failure as a tool for growth, it becomes far less intimidating, and you'll find yourself taking action with more confidence and courage. Courage isn't the absence of fear. It's the willingness to move forward despite it. This distinction is crucial because too often people think that in order to be brave, they must eliminate fear entirely. They believe that only when fear is completely gone will they be ready to take action. However, this mindset can paralyze them from moving forward, as the reality is that fear rarely ever disappears entirely. The key is not to wait for fear to vanish, but to acknowledge it and take action anyway. Bravery is not about being fearless, it's about showing up and doing what needs to be done even when you're scared. Fear is a natural and healthy emotion that alerts us to potential danger and challenges, but it doesn't always indicate that we should stop. In fact, fear is often a signal that we are stepping outside our comfort zones, and that is where true growth happens. When we're doing something new or trying to achieve something significant, fear can arise as part of the process. It's a sign that we are pushing ourselves beyond what we're familiar with, and it's perfectly normal to feel that sense of unease. True courage is not defined by the absence of fear, but by our ability to act in spite of it. One of the reasons fear can be so paralyzing is that it often magnifies the unknown. We fear what we don't understand or can't predict. But courage is about moving forward with the uncertainty, not waiting for a guaranteed outcome. When you take action despite fear, you embrace the unknown and learn to trust the process. In doing so, you realize that you are more resilient than you might have given yourself credit for. The more you act in the face of fear, the more confident you become in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. Taking action, even when you're scared, also helps you overcome the what-if mentality that often holds people back. Fear thrives on our tendency to imagine worst-case scenarios, convincing us that failure is inevitable or that something terrible will happen. These irrational thoughts can freeze us in place and prevent us from pursuing our goals. However, by stepping forward despite these fears, you challenge the validity of these thoughts. Each time you act despite the fear, you disprove the narrative that fear is something that should stop you. Instead, you prove that fear is simply a feeling, not a fact, and you show yourself that you are capable of moving forward regardless of what your mind is telling you. Moreover, taking action in the face of fear allows you to create new neural pathways in your brain. Over time, when you repeatedly take action despite feeling scared, your brain learns that fear doesn't have to be an obstacle. Instead, it becomes a signal that you are about to grow. Your brain starts to reframe fear as something that helps you achieve your goals rather than something that prevents you from doing so. This shift in mindset empowers you to face challenges with more confidence and less hesitation, knowing that fear is not something to avoid, but something to embrace as part of the process of growth. Courage is also contagious. When you take action despite fear, you not only inspire yourself, but also those around you. People tend to look to others for guidance, especially in times of uncertainty. When they see someone move forward despite being scared, it encourages them to do the same. Your courage has a ripple effect, empowering others to step out of their own comfort zones and take action. In this way, courage becomes a powerful tool not only for personal growth, but also for creating a culture of bravery and possibility within your community or organization. And letting it control you, you unlock the potential to achieve things you never thought possible.